Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are back. Another day in the market. Hope everybody's doing well. What's up, Danny, Mr. Robinson, KTF, B. Johnson, and Corey in the chat? Let's get to it. So, an interesting day. It was another kind of flat day, another kind of inside day for the market, but a lot of choppiness in between. A very similar day to yesterday, in my opinion. Tomorrow might break that trend. We'll talk about why. But we did definitely have many different areas of the market do certain things. We had a lot of the swings doing very well today. The CLOV swing up 6% today. FCEL, which is the latest swing I've alerted, that was up 8% today. Fisker was up 5%, 4% today. And Uber was up 19% today. I also alerted a swing on that pretty recently. It just hit 2 of the 3 targets, almost a 3rd target, I think, actually. So beautiful day for the swings. Even in, technically it was a red day for the market. I mean, the S&P closed down 0.6%. The Qs closed down about 1/3%. So really nice price action for the swings. We also had AMC up 10%. We were talking about that last night. I told you all on stream that the first option trade that I alerted this week in premium was AMC calls. Those were up like 250% towards the close today. It's insane. Then we also talked about HKD last night. Of course, there's not much analysis I can do on that, but we were just talking about how crazy it is. And it was up another 100% plus today. So there's a lot going on even in this kind of consolidation phase for the market. Even just looking through my watch list, Lucid was up 6%, Coin was up 7%. So red day for most of the indices, but you did have some mid caps and growth stocks outperforming. The ARK ETF actually was up 3% pretty much. So it's interesting to see that. The VIX is also continuing higher, a lot going on. We did have some earnings as well. We had AMD, PayPal, SOFI. Uber obviously was in the morning, but AMD after hours fell 6%. PayPal after hours is up 11%, and SOFI after hours is up about 8%. SOFI is also a swing. On top of that, we had some more. We had Airbnb, that's down 8% after hours. There's Starbucks, that's up about 1% after hours. So we have all that going on. Tomorrow you've got Lucid and Robinhood, also CVS, Moderna, Under Armour. So the earnings season continues. Pretty light economic week. And yeah, just before we get into Bitcoin and stuff, the swings are doing very well. Every single swing is green right now. Of course, Uber and CLOV both hitting their targets this week. Just the latest round of swings to do so. And a very nice start to the week on option trades and premium. Had the AMC calls we talked about on stream last night. And then I did alert some SPY puts today that did very well very quickly. Within like 17 minutes, they doubled, as you can see over here. So let's get down to business. Let's look at these charts. Let's start off with crypto, then other markets, and the stock market, and then I'll talk about the swings and everything going on. So really quickly, Bitcoin pretty flat today, didn't really do much, just pulling back a little bit more, but it is testing a breakout of this 4-hour wedge. So keep an eye on that for Bitcoin. It was able to hold the top of this resistance and flip it into a support. MACD is curling back towards green. Not bad. Ethereum does look very similar, but it just kind of rejected that same resistance level we were talking about last night. Not much of an update there. Litecoin pulling back a little bit more today, but in 17 minutes, if it rallies maybe like a little bit more, you could get this bullish pin bar close. The last time I had a bullish pin bar was over here, and you could see what happened right after that. So we'll see what happens. And then finally, Link kind of underperforming, down 4% today. Still just barely holding this little resistance choppy zone that it just broke above. Maybe it's still trying to back test it. We'll see what happens, but that's really it for crypto tonight. Moving on to other markets, we have the US 10-year, which did fall lower at one point. It pretty much got down to this 2.5% level we were talking about last night, and then had a huge bounce off of that all the way back up to the previous neckline. So this is a big test. Either you reject this, and that's like even more bearish, because then you have a break, hook, and go to the downside where you broke your support and then you flipped it into resistance. And then if you sell off from here, I mean, that would be horrible. But it's a very horrible looking structure if you're a bull. And yeah, you're just testing this very critical zone, so keep an eye on that. Then we have crude oil just going sideways at the same 93 level in the 200-day moving average. Really nothing too crazy happened. Gold tapped that resistance level we were talking about last night, put in like a little bit of a shooting star candle off of that, kind of a bearish engulfing too. And this, I think I did bring this up last night. I was saying you have like this resistance that you're going to be testing, the potential for hidden bearish divergence. And I said I wasn't going to chart it because it wasn't developing, but now it is. And I said maybe if you just get like a bearish candle that sets up more downside. I think I did say that for metals. And there's your bearish candle. 1 day later, it's now on your chart. Silver looking very similar. Also have hidden bearish divergence on this one developing. Bearish candle. So nice rallies over the past few days or the past week for metals, but maybe it's kind of flipping back to the other side again now. And then you did have the dollar currency index have its best day in a very long time, since July 11th. So in almost a month, the best day for the dollar currency. And yeah, you're now back above this high from June. On the 4 hour, I don't know, maybe you consider all of this just one huge back test. Maybe you just redraw it and then look at it like this. There's a lot of different ways you could perceive that, but you are rallying, and we'll see if it can hold this 106 level. And then finally the Hang Seng Index selling off, kind of a very underperforming or just nothing dragon pattern move. You had a dragon pattern, you were testing the breakout, and then you just kind of didn't do anything. I mean, even on the daily there was a wedge breakout, so I don't know what's going on here, but clearly not doing too well there. Speaking about China, we have HKD, which has gone from like the teens all the way up to like 2,500. It's pretty crazy. I mean, just, I really don't know what to say. We talked about this briefly last night. Let's see if TradingView has any new news today. AMTD Digital said Tuesday that ADS trading in the New York Stock Exchange was still undergoing an initial stabilization period where the underwriters have been given a green shoe option to buy up to 2.4 million additional ADSs. AMTD Digital said that during the period since the IPO'd, it noted significant volatility in its ADS price, also observed some very active trading volume. Obviously, to our knowledge, there are no material circumstances, events, nor other matters relating to our company's business and operating activities since the IPO date. The company is also monitoring the market closely for any unusual trading activities or abnormalities. But yeah, I mean, this is just like the next meme stock that's up to all of these retail traders. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of other stuff going on here. Again, there's not much really I can say except wow. I'm kind of just sitting on the sidelines and just looking at this, and we'll see how this turns out over time. We've seen a lot of stuff like this before. Well, not a lot of stuff like this before, but we've seen some things or some charts like this before, and something happens eventually, typically. But yeah, let's get started with the market analysis. I don't know if I have a bunch of alerts. Let me delete that. Actually, I can keep it. All right, so last night on stream, if you watched, I was talking about how I'm starting to flip to bearish on the market. We talked about the volume declining, and you're seeing even lower volume today. And we also talked about the upper Bollinger Band being tested. So yeah, you kind of have been in this little range for the past few days, between 407 and 413.5. So just a very easy, I mean, sometimes easy is not always easy, but very simple. It's just a plan. It's not a certainty. There's only probabilities at stake here, but very simple. If you break under 407, that could potentially give you some more downside tomorrow, and then a break above this high from yesterday at 413.4 could give you some more upside. So I will be watching either puts below that 407 level or maybe calls above that high from yesterday, but it also depends on the volume, if there's any news, and of course the intraday technical patterns and all that stuff. So you know, it's just a rough idea for right now, but something I am keeping in mind whenever we get these consolidation phases, whatever you want to call it, market distribution, whatever. You know, eventually it's going to go one way, but it's only a question of how long do you continue to consolidate, right? So you can look at it as just a range. If you go down to lower time frames, it looks a little bit more like a double top to me, and you're kind of testing this neckline. You also did close today with a 15-minute bearish engulfing candle, and you have 15-minute hidden bearish divergence. So the lower time frames look a lot more bearish to me. And if we like really zoom out here on the 15-minute, it's kind of like a textbook double top formation, and now you're testing the breakdown. So it does look a little bit different, but it's not really confirmed, I'd say, until you break under 407, because you have both of these lows over here, and then even just under that you have this gap fill around 406.4. so that's why I have that zone charted. So yeah, I saw it was bearish yesterday on the market. You pulled back a little bit today. If we go over to the 1 hour, you can see this upsloping channel view that I have. So it's really just a question of, do you break that 407 level and continue lower? All the other supports are charted over here. They're dating back to a bunch of lows and highs from the past. Or do you invalidate all this bearishness, somehow get above 413, and then maybe go up to 415-ish and test the top of this range from the beginning of June? So that's really the two scenarios I'm looking at for tomorrow. I'll be very surprised if you broke above like that 415, 416 area. That was a very real resistance. You'd have to be up more than like 2% on the SPY to get above that. I just don't know if that's possible. So, you know, I'm probably just going to be watching this in the morning to see if you get a 407 breakdown. It's going to depend on what the futures look like. And if you do get that breakdown, maybe I'll be looking at some puts. I mean, there are a few levels underneath here, but if we do zoom out, you kind of did go straight up in this zone. So we'll see what happens. Speaking about tomorrow morning, I see Keanu Trades in the chat. I will be in Keanu Trades Discord at 10 o'clock EST, just doing a little bit of live trading for some time. So make sure to check that out. Feel free to drop your Twitter handle in the chat, Keanu. So you can check me out there and his Discord server as well. But yeah, that's really my thoughts on the SPY for right now. The other stuff is kind of the same. You still have that 4-hour classic bearish divergence. You actually now have a 4-hour bearish engulfing candle. So on the higher time frames, the bearish variables are really starting to stack up, in my opinion. And it's all happening at a resistance zone too. So it's only like somehow maybe the lower time frames can save it. But if you break down from that 407 level tomorrow, I just think there could be more downside after that. But we'll see what happens. We got to wait for more confirmation. Moving on to the QQQ. You're still testing resistance. Kind of 2 days now where you were able to get price action up to around 318, but you're not able to hold there. So you have these two large upper wicked candles. That's another bearish sign to me heading into tomorrow. Again, that double top argument could be made here as well. You did get that breakdown of the rising wedge we were talking about last night, and then you kind of back tested it too and then sold off. So yeah, it's just a question of, do these variables play out? I think the variables for the overall markets right now are starting to turn bearish. It takes some time to get out of autopilot mode. We got 4-hour classic bearish divergence on the Qs as well. So we'll see, but you can also see this level. This is actually very similar to the Russell 2000. But you see these two lows over here. It's being tested as resistance. These lows from like March and February. If we go over to the Russell 2000, same exact thing. These two lows from March and February are being tested as resistance. Now the difference is on the Russell 2000, that also lines up with the pattern completion zone of this bearish bat harmonic pattern and a gap fill from like June 9th. So this is something I was watching today. I was testing the waters with some Russell puts. I didn't end up overnighting them, but we'll see what it looks like tomorrow morning. On top of that, you've also got 4-hour classic bearish divergence on the Russell. So like, I would prefer to be bullish more than bearish and just in general as a trader, but the variables I see on the daily and the 4-hour, to me, at least short term, are just bearish right now. That's just really the point that I'm trying to get across in the streams. I'm just telling you what the variables are. We'll see if they play out. But I don't really see much of, other than like just the overall trend is your friend lately, I'm just not seeing like the bull case short term for the market unless you somehow crack above those resistance levels we were talking about, which you haven't done that yet. It's always possible, but you know, unless that happens, maybe just a little bit of a pullback. I don't think we're just going to dump all the way back to lows like right away. I don't know if the overall low isn't either. You know, I'm not a genius. I think I'm relatively smart with technicals, but I can't predict literally every single move that's going to happen for the next month. So it's just taking it day by day and seeing what happens. And yeah, we just need a little bit more data, a little bit more confirmation. You've also got that same two upper wicked candles in a row idea for the NASDAQ composite. So that's really where you're at. You know, the one thing that did kind of stand out today was the ARK ETF, which put in a new candle close high, highest candle close since July 21st. So this was green while most other indices, I mean, it's not really an index, but this was green while a lot of the indices were red. I don't even know, like, we did talk about that rising wedge idea. I saw this on Twitter, but it's just really not respecting it that much. Maybe we extend it to here. But I think the major thing right now is, can it hold above this resistance zone? It's testing a breakout. It failed to hold a breakout over here and over here, but this time around, we'll see what happens. So that's really it for the market. Not too much has changed. I think more of what I want to talk about tonight is not really the market analysis, but individual stocks, because you have a lot going on in a lot of different areas. Thank you, Might T Green. Fortunately, I don't have tea tonight. Just water. So let's talk about some other stocks now. Make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you didn't already. Let me see the chat for a second first. Oh yeah, Cheddar Freeze dropped the Discord link in the chat. Join that if you're not in it. What's up, Anna? Jesse, we might look at that later. I'm not sure if we're gonna have time. What's up, Connie? And then Daniel says, do you think QQQ being bearish will now affect CLOV? If the overall markets do pull back, I do think CLOV would pull back with it unless there's some sort of a catalyst. Now the thing is, for CLOV, you have these earnings coming up. We'll look at it actually in a second, but you have the earnings coming up next week. So that is a catalyst in itself. But like if the market pulls back, you know, tomorrow, the day after, I would be surprised if CLOV, because CLOV's already been running, right? So even if CLOV did pull back a little bit now, if the market pulls back too, maybe even like ahead of earnings, I wouldn't mind it personally, but I do think it would affect CLOV, to answer your question. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it shines and it's the only green in a sea of red, but I don't know. It's just all probabilities. We'll see what happens. But before we get to the swings, let me just talk about some other stocks. We already kind of talked about HKD before, but we did have AMC go up 10% today. We were talking about this last night. We were talking about this 1470 level last week, and this is a level I was kind of like slamming the table. Like, this is like the level. Look at all this resistance over here. Look at the previous support areas. This is a huge level. This is what I was talking about nonstop last week. I was saying keep an eye on AMC above that 1470 level. Yesterday you ended up breaking above it, and then you back tested it, and what happened? You have gone to the moon in a very short amount of time. But yeah, you know, just an update on what happened. Basically yesterday I alerted AMC calls right over here around 10 o'clock yesterday morning in premium. That was the first trade, 10 a.m. yesterday. AMC lotto calls, they were at 53 cents, and those calls today went up a lot more than that. They went up to, can't even remember the exact amount, but I think like 183 or something. So those calls went up 200%. We did talk about this on stream last night as well. So even if you missed, if you're not in premium, well, at the open today, it shot up and then it just kept going higher. I mean, I also did show these levels on stream last night. It actually took out even more. And then after just going straight up until about 11 a.m. this morning, AMC actually did, and this is really why I want to talk about it tonight, it's starting to develop this new pattern. And again, you know, I have no clue which way this breaks, but this is a almost completed pattern. Bears will call it a rising wedge, bulls will call it an ascending triangle. This is the kind of the more rising wedge approach, but if you want to look at it as an ascending triangle, you can just draw a zone over here. But this is going to be one of the key things I look at tomorrow morning. I might as well just set my alerts right now. But basically above 17 would be a breakout, and then breaking this trend line, this white lower trend line or this demand line would be a breakdown. And then maybe like support after that would be around 1650-ish. So I'll set an alert above 17 and just under this low it put in at 1676. So tomorrow morning, apart from watching this SPY, what's it called? Apart from watching the SPY double top neckline test and just the SPY range in general, I'm also going to be watching this AMC pattern, and I'm going to see which way it breaks out, and I will just keep an eye on that. So that was really the price action. Really nice move for the AMC calls. I also alerted the second option alert of the week today, which was SPY puts. I alerted those at 1:15 p.m. today, which was right over here. So I alerted SPY puts right over here today, and as you can see, literally right after that's when you got like your quickest drop of the day. You fell down over 0.5% in like half an hour, and in 17 minutes the puts I alerted doubled. So it was a really nice trade as well. And even if you're not in premium, I did share this with everybody. I didn't alert puts, but I did share that SHAK pattern, which played out just beautifully in the trading chat if I can find it. There we go. So this perfectly tapped that pattern completion zone, and then boom, again, it's just another great screenshot you can send to your friend that says TA is fake. Just ask them why the S&P 500 just randomly reversed right at that exact point. But yeah, nice move there. You know, maybe even just looking at the SPY for tomorrow, you could draw like a supply line here as well. It's just, you know, there's so many different things going on. You could look at it like a wedge. I'll probably keep this charted in case you don't break down from the double top neckline on the 15-minute. So I'll just show that to all of you again. In case you don't break down from this double top neckline at these levels, then maybe to keep an eye on this 5-minute wedge, just for like maybe like a little bit of a quick move. But just which way do you kind of test first is a big question. So that was SPY and AMC, just kind of some trade updates. And yeah, the AMC just in general. You know, on the 1 hour, you're now above 1620, which is this high over here and this high over here and these highs. So there's not a lot of resistance now up until like this like upper $17 to $18 area, which is where you were at on July 20th. So AMC is kind of re-entering this pretty flexible range where you don't have a lot of price action compared to like all the choppiness over here. So there's that. And then also GameStop today was up a little bit more. It's kind of back towards the top of this like range it's been in. Had like a fake breakout over there, or just one that didn't do much. But it is actually, if we go into really low time frames, it is regarding the levels we talked about on the 5-minute last night pretty well. We talked about these highs flipping into support, then you were able to break above it, then you also use it as support not once but also twice. So this little zone over here is a key zone to keep an eye on GameStop. So those are kind of some meme stocks. We did have some earnings today. AMD after hours has dropped. So, you know, it was kind of like, let's see if I can zoom out more. It was breaking out of the wedge, making a move, and maybe now with this pullback, you're going to be back testing the breakout for AMD. I have no clue what the earnings report actually looks like, but that is something to keep an eye on. And then we also had PayPal report today, which was up very nicely. So huge move for PayPal, up 11% after hours, getting above this 93 resistance level. Next resistance I see is all the way up at like 123. We can go check the daily to see if there's anything before that, but yeah, like 121, 123, that dates back to some highs like in 2019 and 2020. So like the 120-ish level, if you can really hold above this for PayPal, and right now it's currently sitting at pretty much $100. So right now PayPal is like right over here where this white line is. You can hold that, hold above this 94 support, which lines up with this low and this high. Then 122, 121, that kind of zone over there is like the next resistance. I mean, PayPal really did like pull an arc. I don't even know what else to say, like .com bubble type chart, like whatever you want to call it. So that's PayPal. And then also SOFI reported after hours today. There is a swing alert on SOFI. I did actually alert this like back over here. It already hit the first target. The second target is 751, and it went up to about 720-ish after hours. So got an after hours spike for SOFI as well on earnings. And it's, if it can hold above that 660 level, which as you can see was your low over here, your highs over here, and your highs like before the close, that would kind of open up this whole entire range over here. So those are just some like charts for the earnings from today. Now let's talk about like the rest of the swings. Let's get started with CLOV, which is only 4% away from the second target of the swing trade, which is sitting at $3.24, up 6% today after hitting the first target yesterday. We talked about how it took out all this resistance last night on stream, and then I even talked about how it was back testing the breakout before the close yesterday. I don't know if I mentioned it on the stream, but I did get some CLOV lotto calls like at some point yesterday. I overnighted them, took a lot of profits on them today. They're weeklies, but yeah, really nice breakout of this resistance zone above $3 for the first time since April of this year. And yeah, you know, if the market does end up pulling back, then maybe look for a back test into this zone over here. And if it doesn't and CLOV can just keep ripping, I'd say like the next level is around like 330-ish that I see on the 4 hour. You can see this high over here, and then on the flip side, these lows over here. But it's already above like the more major resistance areas. So beautiful move for CLOV. Nicest rally it's seen in a pretty long time, well, pretty much since March. And almost 2 out of the 3 targets have hit. It's up 31% since I alerted this swing back in the beginning of July, I think maybe the end of June, somewhere around over here when it was breaking out. And earnings coming up next week, so see how that affects things. Another swing that I recently alerted was FCEL. It was up 8% today. The swing itself is up about 4%. It did dip at first. A really nice bounce back. You're now testing the breakout of this wedge pattern. You also have confirmed hidden bullish divergence on the daily, and a bullish engulfing candle from today as well. So really good price action, and this all happened right off this gap fill that we were talking about last night on stream. So nice bounce there for FCEL. Best Buy, kind of another flat day. It's really just consolidating. You could probably draw like a triangle pattern or something like that as well. So just need more data for updates on the Best Buy swing. And then after that we have, one second. After that, we have Fisker, which was up 4% today. This technically already was marked as a break even, but I'm just keeping the swing idea targets and stop loss just up for fun, I guess. But a really nice bounce today. And let's go over to the 4 actually. We were talking about this last night, the difference between this bearish rejection candle, but also that 4-hour hidden bullish divergence. And he did end up getting a bounce today. He also got a 4-hour bullish engulfing candle. So kind of you can just take this demand line out of the equation for right now, and this is really, we can even just move this up. We'll leave that support there, but this is really the big picture right now on Fisker. This support area flipped into a resistance. Can you break above it or not? That's like the big test that we're going to be keeping an eye on for Fisker this week. It broke out of this wedge pattern, it made a higher low. Now this is the big test. It's actually very similar, very similar to what CLOV did right over here. I mean, look at it. You broke out of your wedge, you went up to resistance. You initially rejected your resistance, just like you did on Fisker. You initially rejected your resistance, but what did CLOV do? It made a higher low, and then it eventually broke it. This is pretty much what CLOV did. It made the higher low, and then it broke it, right? It made the higher low, and then it broke it. So it is actually very similar to what we were talking about on CLOV last week, and now we obviously all have seen how CLOV has been doing this week. So keep an eye on this. It's kind of like a little bit of a partial decline idea for Fisker. This is the big test. And then we have the SHAK swing, which is doing a pretty decent job of back testing this previous resistance level as a support and bouncing up a little bit. So good stuff there. It already hit the first target, second target's all the way up at 54. And then finally, the big one, Uber, which hadn't even hit the first target. It was close to the first target when we talked about it last night on stream. Only a few percent away from it. And this is what happened. Huge day for Uber on earnings. 2 out of the 3 targets hit. This is up 35% since I alerted it. And there you go. You had the wedge, you had the bullish bat, and then of course the earnings kind of carried it across the field, or whatever analogy you want to use. But, you know, it's kind of like a Hail Mary, but this was kind of when like the ball was being thrown like right over here when you were breaking out before the earnings. So beautiful move for Uber. If you were in the Uber swing, that's probably a very fun morning for you. And yeah, so see what happens with the swings. But again, you know, this is kind of the best they've done in a pretty long time. Of course, the market's been nice as well, but what was I saying? If you watched last night's stream, I was saying that I might start taking a little bit lighter. We've had a great round of swings. It's been amazing, but now there's starting to be some bearish market variables, so just proceeding with a little bit of caution. That's why you might not see some swing alerts for maybe the next couple of weeks, maybe 1 or 2 here and there, but not really like going out of my way to look for them or anything like that. So yeah, those are the updates for tonight. Really interesting price action. Let's see. John saying those SPY puts were spot on, timing champ. Really appreciate it, John. Thank you. Also, to everybody in premium today, thank you for all, like, I don't know, we could probably look at it, but it just makes me feel so good. Like, I work so hard to find these trades, and then we have just like a really good trade like that. Just seeing, you know, all the support. Let's see if I can scroll up. Like, all the support, I really do appreciate it. Just gives me more motivation to do better. Definitely increases my ego a little bit, but that's not always a bad thing, right? So yeah, the SPY puts today were great. And what's up, Adit? Nice plan, champ. Thank you. Nerve, what's up? AK, what's up? Thomas saying, where is Zeke? I saw Zeke in the chat earlier. You might be taking timestamps. What's up, Jeff? How you doing? So yeah, good day all around. Also, I'm doing a little bit of a giveaway on Twitter. If you follow me at Champion Vibe, just retweet this, and tomorrow I'm going to give away $50 at the close to somebody who retweeted this. And Ponell, if you want to get scammed, then go retweet my tweet and get a chance at winning $50. That's the only way I'm going to be scamming you. So I don't know. Yeah, so we'll leave it at that. That's just really ironic that you put that in the chat like while I'm talking about a giveaway. So yeah, if you want to enter that, you don't have to give me your crypto keys and your social security. Just click a retweet button on Twitter, and maybe you'll win. Maybe you won't. Most of you won't win, to be fair. Alright, so thank you for watching the stream. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, join the Discord. The link is in the description. Have a great night. And if you do trade tomorrow, good luck. If you don't, hope you enjoy your day. Or you're saying SPY puts were instant green. They certainly were. Ponell says trader and don't have microphone and camera. You got me there. You got me there. You really did. Congratulations. But yeah, have a good night. Thank you for watching the stream, and peace out.